welcome, and make yourself a cup of tea or get a nice drink. Create a lovely sacred space. For those of you that are in transit and are driving, perhaps you can just practice some active listening as opposed to passive listening. And active listening is where we really show up. We show up, we ask questions, we really think about what's being said, or you can passively listen to. There's no rules. Okay, today I wanted to talk about why we can't move forward. What is it? What is this phenomena that happens when you set a goal or you put out an intention into the world, and then the absolute opposite happens? The thing that you don't want to happen, like you want more money and then your washing machine breaks down. You're having a breakthrough with money. Let's say, for instance, you might have got a pay rise, or you might have come across some money, and then all of a sudden one of your bills goes up just by, your rent goes up $100, and that takes up your $100 pay rise. This can happen on so many different levels. You want to lose weight, and then you end up putting weight on. You want to start an exercise program and you're really keen to do it, and then some family tragedy happens, or you get sick, or you sprain an ankle, or it just kind of, I'll just take a sip of my tea. Oh, beautiful. This is a jasmine breakfast blend. It's really quite fruity and lovely. So yeah, going back to that, it feels like the odds are stacked against you. And there's a few reasons for that. So I want to cover one of the big underlying issues of why we hit these walls, these sabotages. It's simple, but it's complex at the same time. So with kinesiology, if you haven't embodied a goal or a belief, it's highly unlikely that you truly believe it. You might consciously think you believe it, but if it hasn't been truly embodied, it's highly unlikely that it's going to manifest in the outside world. So the truth is that we have opposing goals. We have opposing beliefs. So when we want to make some paradigm shift, some quantum shift into a new space, into a new reality, we have to let go of the old one. And a lot of the time, that old one, we don't even realize that we have put so much energy into something else. The thing is that our current reality and what we have does actually, and I'm talking on a personal level, does actually align to our belief systems. So if money is your issue and you are having struggles with money, then that'll be something to do with your belief systems, conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, that are playing out in the field. So when someone comes in to have a balance, let's say in kinesiology, so if you've never experienced kinesiology, what happens is someone will come in and they will want to experience a different reality, So let's say, for instance, they're having relationship issues and they want a better quality relationship. So what we do is we get them to say the statement. We find the perfect statement for their body that aligns with what they want. We call them affirmations or goals or statements, whatever you identify with. And then we muscle test. And usually, because they don't have it already in their reality, the muscles test weak. And then the balance is all about the process of programming that into the body. So it kind of shortcuts a lot of the manifestation. So knowing how to program something directly into the body through the chakra systems, through the meridian systems, is a really valuable tool. And if, for instance, somebody wanted a great relationship and let's say the muscles tested up weak, we then would find out what we needed to do to correct that, to bring that back into balance, so that that particular paradigm, that particular belief then is embodied and more likely to manifest for that person. So when we're doing that without our own kinesiologist in the background, when we're just doing that for ourselves, there's some that I want to run through some of the ways here today that you can have that in your life and you can work on that yourself. And because at the end of the day, we're just using the body as a biofeedback mechanism. And with muscle testing, we get to create that we get to see that biofeedback straight away through putting, arms and limbs in a particular position, applying pressure, and see whether the body tests strong or weak. If we don't know how to muscle test, and if we don't necessarily go and have kinesiology, you can still work with your own feelings and senses and understandings of your own body. So when, let's say we put a goal out there in the world or a desire out there in the world that we truly want, and then this opposite happens, don't make the mistake to think it's a sign from the universe saying you shouldn't do that thing. The universe is completely benign. The universe does not care what you do. It doesn't have a bias as to, oh, you should be doing this thing, you should be doing that thing. That's just programming. That's just programming to think that there is an authority outside of us. There is no authority outside of us. It's just what we choose to align with. So at the end of the day, if, let's say, you have this belief, you want something in your life, and the opposite happens, don't take it as a sign from the universe. That's what it's simply saying is not that you're on the wrong track. What it's simply saying is you have old beliefs that are contrary to that. So, I often hear people going, well, it didn't work out for me, so obviously I wasn't meant to have it. I'm not destined to be wealthy. I'm not destined to be happy in a relationship. So this actually leads people to get stuck in hopelessness, because there's this aspect of ourselves, this deeper, truer self that lies underneath our belief systems, that is the true essence of our authentic being. And that's what's aligned to our blueprint. That's what we want to experience in this world. So when we have this goal and we want to align with that, and then we hit these walls, it simply means we have opposing beliefs. That's all. It just means at some time in the future, you have decided the contrary, and not for any bad reason, not because you're sabotaging yourself, not because you're, you want yourself to fail. I mean, there could be fear there, who knows, but it's just, it belongs to an old part of you. And it doesn't mean to say that that old part of you is wrong. It just means to say that you now want to step into a new reality, a new perspective of life. You want to experience something else. Making changes and wanting something that we don't have simply means that you want a different outcome, which means you want a new agreement. A new agreement. And, it means that we want to let go of old agreements. Okay, I know it sounds pretty obvious. However, what these agreements are our belief systems, and our whole reality has been structured around our belief systems. So beliefs are the foundational building blocks of this reality. So they're really important. And yet, the paradoxical thing about beliefs is that they're actually not true. There is no belief that's true. And yet, you will see people having incredible arguments, and wars are started because people have opposing or dissimilar beliefs, and yet none of it's true. And I'll tell you why it's not true, just so that it doesn't rattle around in there for too long. If I had a belief that says all men are bad, is that the truth? No, it's not. But if I also had a belief that says all men are good, that's also not true. It's a belief, it's a perspective. So when we have a belief, what we're doing is, and we truly believe it, and that's just for the conscious beliefs that we believe, and then I'll go into unconscious beliefs and conditioned beliefs in a minute. But I see beliefs as simply as they're like little wands. They're wands that we focus our energy into. They're wands that we use to manifest and create. So we use our energy and we apply energy to these little tiny affirmations called belief systems. And we build enough of those and we've created the life that we've got. So you can actually see what your belief systems are very, very clearly, because that's the current life that you have. So when you want to change that aspect, when you want a different or a new agreement, sometimes the old agreements come up and bump up against that. And that's what we called opposing beliefs. So we had to get rid of a lot of those beliefs growing up, and that's how we evolve. And so how do you get rid of beliefs? Well, first of all, it's understanding that beliefs are not true. They are just tools that you can use to create your reality. They're very different. It's a different form of consciousness to knowingness. Knowingness is a whole other kettle of fish. Knowingness comes from a deeper space, and it connects more to our authentic self. So when we reach that place of knowingness, we're often at peace, where we We don't have any agenda that we're pushing and butting up against. And I might just do a whole thing on authenticity in the future if anybody wants to hear about it, because it's actually very, very fascinating. And very powerful. That this is where the core of our power is in our authentic self. However, let's go back to beliefs. Now, you know, we often are told that you can't access your subconscious, and yeah, of course you can access your subconscious. Your subconscious is simply subconscious because not everything can be conscious, but we can certainly access the subconscious. If I was to ask myself about what beliefs I have about money, let's say, for instance, I could rattle off 15 beliefs straight away, and they're not conscious, they're subconscious. I've had to actually focus on them and kind of write them and going, okay, yes, do I believe that money is good? Do I believe that money is bad? Do I believe, there are certain people that can have money? Do I believe there are certain people that can't have money? Do I believe that money is easy to come across? Do I believe that money is hard to come across? You can ask yourself all those questions and you will get answers because it's inside. It's under there, but it's not something that you consciously are aware of. It takes some time to sit down and look inwardly and contemplate what this is. So one of the quickest ways of dissecting your beliefs and flushing them out is just head on the path that you want to achieve. If you want to achieve more money, if you want to achieve a better relationship, if you want to own your own home, if you want better quality friendships, if you want a career, a job, whatever, head out there and start the process. Just take one step towards what you want, and you will, in a matter of seconds, the minute you say I am wealthy, for instance, I am wealthy, you'll feel what comes up in your body straight away. And it's a really good exercise to even sit down with a paper and pen, or you can even just meditate, even while you're driving. Sometimes I do a lot of contemplative thinking while I'm driving. It's quite enjoyable. And so, while you're listening to this podcast as well, you're now starting to think about, oh, well, what are my beliefs around that? I am wealthy, or I have excellent relationships, or I'm really healthy. I'm really healthy. And what happens is all of these opposing beliefs or contrary beliefs will start to surface. Now you've got a way in to start to reclaim some of that energetic real estate that's been unconsciously murking around, keeping you stuck in a paradigm that perhaps doesn't serve you anymore. So beliefs are something that are not true, but they can be used to direct your energy. So use them how you want, and when you start to believe the belief that you're coming through, you're starting to embody it. And the best exercises to do are start to look at the conditioned beliefs that have been unexamined, beliefs that belong to our families, beliefs that belong to our society, to certain levels of group consciousness. I've been in the health world for a long, long time, and working with frequency medicines and working with the power of the mind to help the body to access its own healing abilities, I've seen some stuff that has been very, very conflicting to what our group beliefs are around health. Just taking another sip of tea. So I remember when I was first studying, and 30 odd years ago, and I was in a class of 40 other naturopaths, because I started studying naturopathy back in those days before I became a specialist in kinesiology. And I was so green at that time. I was so uninitiated in anything. I was very innocent, and I thought everybody just wanted the best for everybody else. Like, that was just absolutely 100% my understanding of life. So I was sitting there in a class, and they were talking about AIDS at the time. And at that time, AIDS was a prevalent thing in our society, and it was very devastating for a lot of people, and it was a hideous thing that a lot of some beautiful, beautiful people went through. Anyway, some of the old timers there were saying, "Oh, well, it's an easy fix." And I went, "What?" And they said, "Oh yeah, it's an easy fix. You just do blah 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 blah, this and that, and you can pretty much restore the immunity system and da 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 da, and I was flabbergasted. I was gobsmacked. I was so excited, and the first thing I said to them was, "Oh my God, have you told the doctors about this? Like, you should tell the doctors about this. This should really happen. Like you guys have got something that obviously I thought only they knew, right? That the whole world didn't know. Only this group of small beings here knew, but that wasn't the case. We had a whole paradigm of people that knew that it was something that your body could heal." And then I learned, just from their comments as well, was, you're so young, you little whippersnapper, no, that's not going to happen, and they don't want to know, and they don't care. I think I cried for about 7 days straight. I was devastated. It broke my heart, actually. And because naively, I thought that we were all there for the betterment of humanity, despite whatever. But what I didn't actually understand at that time was that there were these things called conditioned beliefs that sit deeply in people and deeply in our society and deeply in different social orders and groups. And over the next few decades, I learnt that there are many, many people that really don't care, and that's the truth. They don't care about people's health. To be perfectly honest, they don't care about the truth. They just care about doing a particular protocol that's set out by a particular authority, getting their paycheck, and moving on. And they don't want to rock the system, and that's just their path, and that's their journey, and that's all okay. But it's not me. I like to, I'd like to push the boundaries. I came in as a rebellious human being into this, reality. My poor parents will tell you. And that was my makeup for a reason, because I wanted to question everything. I questioned absolutely, why do I have to do that? Why do we have to have chores every Saturday? Why do I've got to go to Sunday school? what's the stuff that the Bible's telling you? You know, from when I was 8 years old and reading the Bible, I was sitting there going, I'm pretty sure this is just written by some old guy, and, and people, this was an 8-year-old. I'm telling you thoughts of an 8-year-old. And obviously my paradigm has shifted since I was 8, and I have a lot of other ideas and beliefs around what's written in scriptures these days, which comes from a different perspective. However, as a child, I had that mind that was very inquiring, that was very butting up against authority, and consequently I wasn't that programmable, thank goodness, because I didn't actually value a lot of what authority had to say. So, including my parents, which was their cross to bear, unfortunately. But anyway, regardless, we do get conditioned. We get conditioned through punishment. We get conditioned through being told a particular thing. We get conditioned through our friendships. We get conditioned by our own inner monologue and dialogue. We get conditioned in so many different ways. We are genetically conditioned. Our genetics carry with them specific codes that were passed down from generations, and that becomes part of our conditioning. So, so don't feel ashamed or distressed when the first time you put a goal out into the world, when the first time you put a desire out into the world, and you want this wonderful thing to happen in your life, and then all of a sudden the opposite happens. It's not your fault most of the time, okay? So what your job is, it's your responsibility though, okay? So it's all of our responsibility to address these contradictory aspects of ourselves, and not to focus on them with shame and disgust and attack ourselves because we have them, but to understand that it was something that we either accepted without question and without examination, or it was something that we were unconsciously conditioned with, and we never actually really stood and went, why do I believe this? Why do I believe that, money's hard to find when I see all the evidence in the outside world that says that a lot of people have it? Why do I believe that men are a bunch of ruthless human beings that just want one thing from women? Why is that a belief system in the world? Because there is a lot of beautiful, beautiful men that struggle with their own beliefs around, women are hard, and women are what's some of the beliefs around that? I don't have any beliefs around women because I'm not a man. Women just want to use you for your money. That's it. That's a common one. So anyway, these are all belief systems that need to be examined, because when you sit there, and if you were to take these belief systems to a court of law and get them cross-examined, there would be no evidence. There's some evidence, but there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. So we have to do the same to our belief systems. So when you set a goal in your life, or when you put out that desire into the field, and you really feel what it would feel like to have that, and you really see yourself having that in this moment, what are the feelings that come up in your body? And you can question them straight away. You can go, okay, what's that belief that says, there could be a belief that says, well, you can't have it. There could be, and I would question those. Okay, well, who said I can't have it? Who said I can't have this? And whose belief is this? So that's a really one of my favorites. Whose belief is this? And the answers come up. Like, you ask the questions, your body will give you the answers straight away. That's how that's how I question people in clinic with kinesiology. We have to challenge these beliefs. We could have beliefs that say that you've got to work really hard for all your money. So challenge that belief and go, okay, who said? Whose belief is that? The minute I actually think about that belief and I go into my own body around that, it goes back to my grandfather, and this is just something I've realized in this moment, goes back to my grandfather on my mother's side. So my mother's father. And it's instantly goes back to him. It's an energy and aura I see around him straight away. So this is his belief. Now, my mum was raised in a village high up in the highlands in Herzegovina, in former Yugoslavia. It was so remote, this village where they lived, that I think even to this day, it takes, you've got to get there on foot. Or certainly that was the case when my sister went and visited them, back 20 years ago or whatever. So, I doubt it if it's probably changed. But it's a very, very old tribe that lived up in those highlands, and they grew everything and ate off the land. It was a very, very harsh existence. No running water. They didn't have. They had a hut where they all would meet with one bowl, and they all would eat out of the one bowl. It was, the old men would go and go into the opium den, and they would smoke opium in a room where the elders went. It was a very primitive and otherworldly experience. Actually, it was quite fascinating, and my mother, bless her heart, has since left her body. However, was a very different kind of being as a result of that happening. And her beliefs were very much aligned to those tribal beliefs. And coming into our modern world, she had a lot to contend with, but she was also very, very deeply embedded in her own authenticity, which was wonderful for her. However, her father was a jack of all trades, and he believed that, children would have to work from the moment they could walk. They would carry the small stones, and as they got bigger, they carried bigger stones. They were all big parts of, that's their survival. Their survival was very much, if you didn't contribute your energy and your muscle power and your effort into that village, you pretty much died, really. And they were often on the brink of starvation and death. So, and going back a few generations back, we probably, a lot of us have got similar stories to tell of our ancestors. I mean, look at the convicts that came to Australia back in the was it the 17 or 1800s? Oh, my history is terrible. So back in the days when the convicts first landed here, it was a harsh existence. It was tough, and they had to work the land. Otherwise, they just died. There was no 7-Eleven. There was no going down to Woolies or Coles. There was no big infrastructure that you could lean into. So you can imagine those beliefs are very strong in our bodies, in our genetics, and they don't necessarily have to be the same today. However, we still carry them through, and they're up for investigation. So when you go forward in your own life and you want to fulfill something, you want to achieve this desire in your life, whether it be having a baby, having a family, buying a home, how many imposed beliefs have we got now as a societal belief that says no one can afford to buy a home? The prices are too high. And, and in my experience is let those beliefs wash over you, because existence finds a way. We have got access to something that's way more powerful than just these societal constructs. Otherwise, we wouldn't have survived. So, a belief that I have, that I keep reinforcing in my system, is miracles happen every day. I, years ago, wanted to experience, I said it, in my job, I experience miracles every day. And I've fulfilled that. That happens every day. I experience a miracle in my workplace. And now it's just normality for me. So, do you want to experience miracles in your life? Start believing that you can. Start believing that they happen. If your belief systems are embedded in a way that is constructed and structured in a way for you to fulfill your goals, you'll fulfill them. There's no doubt. It's going to happen. But if you've got this belief that says, okay, I want to buy my own home, and you've got 50,000 beliefs that run through your head every 5 minutes that are to the contrary, and you're saying the words of, oh gosh, aren't real estate prices so expensive, and it's impossible for young people to buy homes, and blah, 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 blah. You want to keep regurgitating something that you don't want to align with, you're going to keep creating that reality, and you're going to see evidence in the outside world that confirms that reality. Our beliefs create our reality, and it's the beliefs that we embody. And so when you hit these things in you, it is not a sign from the universe to say, I can't have this. It is a sign from the universe to say, you've got some conflict. You've got something in there that says, I can't have this. So you've got to go in there and address that. Because whether it's been unaddressed in the first place or whether you're the one that installed it, you can uninstall it. Absolutely 100% you can uninstall it. So try that, give that a go, play with that. And, go to my website. I've got this 14-day infinite manifestation. It's a free program that teaches some of the foundational aspects of manifesting. I'm always putting up new articles, and I'm currently putting together some meditations that help us to just keep reprogramming ourself to align with what we want. Yes, there's lots of fabulous things to go and explore. So, yeah, come and play, have fun, enjoy yourself, and remember to be the gatekeeper at your own mind, and don't accept a belief that's just handed to you without investigation. It has to be something that you want to believe, because all beliefs are false. So if you are going to take on a belief, make sure it's a good one. Make sure it's one that you love and that really aligns with what you want to achieve in your life, this new version of you. And yeah, and just remember, enjoy, have fun. The vibration of fun and joy is what makes our cells resonate in a healthy frequency. And life is meant to be fun. And yes, I know there's hardship in life, and I know that there's all sorts of challenges that we meet, particularly at this crazy time of our evolution. But, you know, what does it serve us to not celebrate what is there to be celebrated as well? So grateful for you who have taken the time to join me here today. Love you, bless you, and go and enjoy your fabulous life. And I will chat with you very, very soon.